Coming up in the news, Ministry of Education implements measures to address the issue of late payments to teachers, and youth parliamentarians challenged to continue advocacy to end gender-based violence. We'll have details to these stories and more, plus a look at news in the region when we return.
Hello, Grenada. I am thrilled to share with you the Grenada Tourism Authority's 2026 marketing strategy. Our mission is to position Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique as premier destinations for travelers seeking authentic and enriching experiences. This strategy is dynamic and data-driven, leveraging our unique selling points and emerging travel trends to drive visitor arrivals, boost economic impact, and enhance our destination's competitiveness. In this video series, we'll explore the core pillars and strategic focus areas that will guide us in the coming year. We'll discuss how we plan to tap into key markets, expand into new territories, and ensure that our offerings remain relevant and appealing to travelers from around the world. Stay tuned as we embark on this exciting journey together.
With the details of the GIS news for Wednesday, June 10th, I am Rikisha St. Louis. The Ministry of Education has implemented strategic measures to address late payments to teachers. Permanent Secretary with responsibility for educational administration, Lorraine St. Louis Ned, gave several updates at a post-cabinet press briefing, which focused on late payments to teachers, stating it is of concern to the ministry. According to the PS, the ministry has developed an employee payroll issue reporting form. Teachers are asked to download the form and email it to the Ministry of Education. The form is effectively being used from today and is currently available at the Government of Grenada website under the Government Notices section and will be shared on the GIS and Ministry of Education pages.
And we also want to use the opportunity to reassure the public that the Ministry of Education takes very, very seriously all legitimate claims of non-payment of teachers. On the 19th of May 2026, the Grenada Union of Teachers presented the Ministry of Education with a list of 17 teachers who were owed salaries for periods between September 2025 and April 2026. I wish to clarify that it represented teachers who were owed partial payments. So all teachers are currently on the payroll. The teachers on the list are currently on payroll and receiving salaries. However, it was a matter that for some periods payment was outstanding. Once the ministry received the information from the union, we did an in-depth review of our payroll in collaboration with the Ministry of Finance, specifically the Accountant General's Division. And the Accountant General Division went further to consult with financial institutions to get a true sense of what the issue is or was. What we can confirm from this review is that, as I've said before, all teachers on the list are currently receiving their salaries. Out of the 17 cases, 11 were fully resolved. And by that, we mean that the payments were processed and they were received. The payroll information, the records confirm, and also the banking institutions confirmed that the monies were placed on the teachers' respective accounts. It is important to note that out of the 11 that we are speaking of, 6 of those cases were resolved between September 2025 and May 2026 before the ministry received the list from the Grenada Union of Teachers. 4 out of the 17 cases are actively being processed, and I stand here today to give assurances, because it has been confirmed that the payments will be received in the first payment cycle in June 2026, which actually is within a matter of days.
The Permanent Secretary also discussed the process by which a teacher gets paid and detailed reasons why these payment issues persist. She says issues regarding teachers who have not yet received the 4% salary increase and or the short payments for that increase will also be resolved.
The process by which a teacher eventually gets paid is something like this. There are multiple ministries and departments that are involved in the process. So it starts with the Ministry of Education requesting permission from the Department of Public Administration to recommend the appointment of a teacher. Once said permission is received, the Ministry of Education will proceed with a request, a recommendation to the Public Service Commission to appoint this person. Once the Public Service Commission has made the appointment, the Public Service Commission puts the teacher onto the payroll, and payments begin. They're actioned by the Ministry of Finance. Now, what we notice as the root cause of the issues that were highlighted, one was a case of banking errors or the wrong accounts, and that happened in 4 cases where the payment was made, but it was sent to the wrong account. Up front, I would like to answer the question that may be passing through many people's minds: how does something like that happen? It happens when there is an error on the record of the banking information for the teacher. Now, that error can originate from more than one source. It is a human error. Sometimes it happens when it is being entered into the system, and sometimes it happens where the teachers, no doubt, well, nobody would really want to give the wrong banking information, but it does happen that from time to time a teacher gives the wrong banking information and the money is sent in the wrong place. So we have 4 out of these that have that issue.
Once the ministry becomes aware of this, it works with the Ministry of Finance to recover the funds and reissue the payment.
We also have the processing of short payments. So that is where we have a bulk of payment to give back because we didn't pay you at the time. We had some challenges there. We also had some delays with the processing of appointments. That happened in about 4 or so cases. We had 2 cases of, it was a system error. And then we also had 1 case of incorrect salary classification. That is a case where the teacher is in one grade and instead they were paid in another. We want to also let the public know, although this was not raised, that on our system we note after the review that we currently have 6 teachers who were hired earlier this year and they are not yet receiving payment. We give assurances that the process is well underway and we anticipate that the salaries will be paid in June. This is this month. In terms of the 4%, we want to also notify that our payroll records indicate that only 1 teacher to date has not received the 4% salary increase. Now, the collective bargaining agreement was signed in March of 2026, and as of the first payroll cycle in April, the majority of teachers were paid the 4% increase. The remainder was sorted out in May, and we still have one teacher that is outstanding, and that is to be resolved in the next cycle. Furthermore, 47 teachers have not yet received the short payment for the 4% increase, because the 4% increase was supposed to be applied from January, which means that between either January and April, they're owed, or January and May, as the case may be. So out of the over 1,600 teachers, so we have very close to 1,700 teachers, 47 of them have not yet received their short payment for the 4% increase. But this also will be resolved before the end of the month.
PS St. Louis Ned outlined the requirement from the Ministry of Finance for bank validation of banking accounts from all teachers who have been appointed or who are making a bank account change to ensure the account numbers are correct. Strategic measures are in place to eradicate the persistent issue of late payments to teachers entering the system.
The Ministry of Education, with the blessing of the Cabinet, will engage the other ministries and departments involved in these processes to discuss and operationalize some administrative changes that can actually result in teachers, new teachers coming onto the system, as well as those that are reappointed, having their payments made in less time than we are accustomed to.
PS St. Louis Ned encouraged any teachers with a payment issue to use the new employee payroll issue reporting form now provided.
The Grenada Union of Teachers has been very instrumental in helping us to resolve a number of those cases. So this is not about the union versus the Ministry of Education.
Youth parliamentarians were challenged to continue their advocacy beyond the chambers of parliament sittings, as the need for more to be done to stamp out the societal scourge of gender-based violence becomes urgent. Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Youth and Sport, Senator the Honorable Civil Francis, told youth parliamentarians on Tuesday during a sitting that more needs to be done collectively to help protect those affected by gender-based violence. The National Youth Parliament sitting gave participants the platform to debate the incorporation of gender-based violence awareness, consent education, and gender equality into the school's curricula. It also drove the discussion on mandatory training for police officers and judicial officers.
This motion put forward before this Honorable House is not just timely, but rather important, especially given the statistics, the unfortunate statistics that we have been dealing with this year from the heinous crimes met by our young women, Mr. Speaker. And so I thank you all for advocating. Every presentation that you made here today is a form of advocacy against gender-based violence.
Senator Francis charged the participants to formulate and submit policy documents to the government to support the clarion call for the current administration to conduct a public safety review of existing laws governing self-defense tools, including pepper spray.
I would like to see real action coming from this debate and not just another presentation. And what I mean by that is simply, I am expecting to see a joint effort, a collaborative effort with a draft policy coming before. As the youth government, I am expecting a draft policy from you to the government of Grenada reflecting what you wish to see as it relates to gender-based violence. Too often, our young people, we're asked, and I'm saying we're asked to give us a seat at the table. We get a seat at the table. It is an opportunity for us to show that we belong at the table. I want to see in that policy, that draft policy or that proposal, the combined data and the research. And I also want to see emanating from that a couple zonal projects. Now, I listened to the constituency reports that you've all been given, and I'm really proud of the efforts that you are doing in your individual constituency. So I am also putting forward a call to see zonal projects on self-defense. So we can have the eastern zone, the northern zone, the southern zone, the western zone coming together and undertaking an initiative like that.
Here are excerpts from Tuesday's National Youth Parliament sitting at the Houses of Parliament at Mount Weldale.
The Ministry of Social Development, Community Development and Housing also provides a range of support services through its various departments. We have the Psychosocial Unit, the Social Development Unit, the Men's Bureau, the Housing Unit. These departments can assist with counseling, temporary housing, financial assistance, referrals, and other forms of support. The Men's Bureau also implements programs such as Boys to Men, which seeks to promote positive values, responsibility, and healthy relationships among young men transitioning from boyhood to manhood. We have the Legal Aid and Counseling Clinic, who offers legal assistance and programs such as Alternatives and Man-to-Man, which are also behavior modification programs. And they also deal with addressing anger management. There is also a national program called Stop and Think. It's a behavior modification program led by Dr. Nils Chaitan in partnership with the Ministry of Mental Health. This program works with individuals of all ages and has shown great results not only here in Grenada but across the region. For our young people, the Ministry of Youth also has a social care unit which provides counseling and support services for those navigating personal, family, social, and emotional challenges. Importantly, the majority of these spaces and services are free of charge.
This is a connected and interwoven response. The members on the other side also raised concerns and serious concerns about how domestic violence is sometimes treated when it reaches the system. They speak about victims feeling dismissed, delayed, or discouraged. On that point, again, the government fully agrees. No report of domestic violence should be treated just as a family matter. Once a person comes forward, the response must be serious. It must be timely, professional, and humane.
People I know, as well as families I grew up around. In St. Patrick West, we understand that what it takes to grow something, Mr. Speaker. You prepare the soil, you water it, you protect it from the things that will destroy it, and you are patient because the things worth having don't come overnight. Ending gender-based violence is no different. It starts with education. It grows through training and law reform, and it needs every single one of us tending to it, not just sometimes, but consistently, seriously, and with real love for our people, Mr. Speaker.
The youth of Grenada did not send us to this parliament to play politics with their survival. We came to legislate the structural change that our generation rightfully demands. We came to say loudly, clearly, and on permanent record of this House that gender-based violence will no longer be tolerated in this country. Our schools must do better. Our communities must do better. Our justice system must do better. And every single soul in this nation deserves the fundamental right to feel safe in their own skin.
A cup of silence, a heavy measure of delay, and a turned blind eye. This is a recipe for a justice system that tells a terrified woman, wait your turn. In this chamber and around the world, we have sanitized gender-based violence. We file it, we place it in policy documents, we debate it in documents, we tally up the UN data, and lament the loss of 5% of our GDP. But if we ought to be honest with ourselves, to only speak of dollars is an insult to the dead.
Grenada stands to gain more agricultural support from the Federative Republic of Brazil, as the country now has an ambassador on the island to continue relations between the two countries. Her Excellency Maria Elisa Teofilo de Luna presented her letter of credence on Tuesday to Governor General Her Excellency Dame Cecile Lagrenade. Grenada and Brazil established cordial relations in 1976. The Brazilian embassy was opened in 2009, leading to numerous memoranda of understanding being signed in agriculture, health, culture, and waste management to ensure benefits for both countries. Ambassador De Luna says the embassy doors will soon be reopened.
In the future, we are opening a new embassy here,
Yes.
as we used to have in the past.
Yes, that would be
It's a
nice
very
again.
interesting country, beautiful, that's ça va sans dire, but it's a beautiful country and full of energy, and that presents many opportunities to investment and to be present here for Brazil.
Governor General Dame Cecile Lagrenade welcomed the ambassador and placed on record her anticipation for more assistance to Grenada in critical areas. In 2025, an MOU was signed for support in agriculture.
Grenada and Brazil also exchange experiences on dengue prevention and control. In 2010, an agreement on cultural cooperation was also signed. And in 2012, another mission from your country visited Grenada in conjunction with the Japan-Brazil Partnership Program. Discussions on cooperation in solid waste management and community-based tourism were held at that time. Now, more recently in 2025, a MOU was again signed between the Ministry of Agriculture, Lands and Forestry in Grenada and the Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock in Brazil. This current MOU in agriculture covers sustainable production in agriculture and livestock systems, as well as technical assistance in food and nutrition security, animal health, plant health, and irrigation systems. And we look forward to continued cooperation in key areas of agriculture, food security, health, renewable energy, and climate change, as well as training opportunities for our youth in these areas, which are critical to our country's development.
We'll take a short break. Stay with us.
Morning! Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique are known as the spice of the Caribbean, offering a blend of authenticity and adventure. Our unique selling points include pristine beaches, lush rainforests, rich cultural heritage, and vibrant festivals. These elements create a tapestry of experiences that awaken the senses and invite travelers to explore the beauty of our islands. We're also keeping an eye on industry trends like personalization, sustainability, wellness, and tech-enabled journeys. Personalization allows us to create bespoke experiences tailored to individual preferences, while sustainability ensures that our tourism practices preserve the environment and benefit local communities. Wellness travel is on the rise, with visitors seeking relaxation and rejuvenation, and technology is enhancing the travel experience through AI-powered trip planning and virtual reality previews. By embracing these trends, we can ensure that our offerings remain appealing and relevant to travelers around the world.
The Ministry of Agriculture, Lands and Forestry continues to give fullest support to agricultural partners in their drive to build the sector. As part of a recently concluded 3-day seminar spearheaded by the Inter-American Institute for Cooperation on Agriculture, ICA, small and medium-sized enterprises in the food, processing and food manufacturing sector were given the opportunity to boost their skills and knowledge in areas of marketing, packaging, and branding. The training was geared at improving their readiness for regional and export markets, enhancing their ability to develop competitive products, and expanding market access. Earlier sessions focused on strengthening food safety and health standards. Chief Agricultural Officer Thaddeus Peters told agro-processors on Monday that the Ministry of Agriculture is working to create an enabling environment for their success, reaffirming its commitment to the growth and development of the agro-processing sector.
So from 2024 into 2025, we would have been part of a food security enhancement project with financing from the World Bank. And one of the components was support to small and medium-sized agro-processors. There was some support for at least for 25 persons to receive agro-processing equipment and so on. But additionally, we are also doing a facility at Lacalome, retrofitting a facility at Lacalome, where you can do, the support will be provided for those who don't have the adequate facility at home to come in and do the processing, So it's a sort of rollout sort of operations where you can come in with your raw material, prepare your product, and you move out, and then somebody else come in, and so on. So that's the aim. We're in the construction phase, a little delays, but we hope towards the end of the year we can be in line to make this facility available.
Technical specialist at ICA Grenada is Gregory Del Sol. He said the training is a continuation for a session on agricultural health and food safety in agro-processing.
So last Friday, we had a session on agricultural health and food safety in agro-processing, where we trained the processors, about 21 of them, in the area of compliance in terms of health and food safety. And today we are building upon that to again make the processors a bit more export ready, or make their products at a higher level. So we are continuing on that theme today in terms of marketing, branding, and packaging. So we are training them on how to improve their marketing, their branding, their packaging, to take their product to another level and make them more export ready.
Agro-processors welcomed the training and commended both ICA and the Ministry of Agriculture for the initiative. Facilitator of the training, Trinidadian-born Rachel Renee Gonzalez, Chief Executive Officer of Market Movers Limited, said the training aims to empower and build the capacity of small and medium-sized enterprises by enhancing their branding, marketability, and packaging design.
I've been a food entrepreneur for over 18 years in Trinidad and Tobago, and I have a clear understanding of the food landscape here in the Caribbean, how to take high quality local food brands and make them into strong branding, strong marketability, and to get them on the shelf. We basically take brands from idea to shelf, and we have brands all across the Caribbean that has been able to go from single, mom and pop types of businesses that are now in large retail stores and exported all across the world.
One participant described the session as extremely beneficial, noting that it provided useful information to support the growth of their business.
My name is Sherwin Sandy, and I represent the Sandy's Family Farm, Sandy's Place and Catering Services, where we do agro-processing, make chips from 9 different types of provisions that we grow in Grenada here. We do make bread and flour as well from the same set of provisions that we grow. And today's session for me, I learned a lot from the session 1 and 2. I see it as a great need for my business to move from one point to the next in terms of collaboration with investors, getting clients both locally and internationally.
Finally, in the local segment, the Ministry of Education, with support from the World Bank, officially launched the Windward Islands Sector Transformation for Learning Enhancement, or the WHISTLE project, in Grenada recently. The WHISTLE project is a regional initiative involving Grenada, Dominica, St. Lucia, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Annette Moore has the details in this report.
The Ministry of Education, with support from the World Bank, officially launched the Windward Island Sector Transformation for Learning Enhancement (WHISTLE) project in Grenada on May 29th at the Grenada National Cricket Stadium, St. George. The WHISTLE project is a regional education transformation initiative involving Grenada, Dominica, St. Lucia, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The project is financed through grants from the Global Partnership for Education, GPE, and administered through the World Bank. Grenada has been allocated approximately US $2.4 million under the initiative. Deputy Chief Education Officer for Curriculum, Deanne Francis Thomas, details what WHISTLE aims to do.
It aims to strengthen curriculum delivery, improve assessment practices, enhance teacher capacity, and expand the use of educational technology across the Windward Island. For Grenada specifically, WHISTLE focuses on the successful implementation of an enhanced curriculum and assessment strategy for Forms 1 and 2. The project will support the development and delivery of a modernized digital lower secondary curriculum. At its core, WHISTLE seeks to ensure that teaching and learning are more aligned, more responsive, and better able to prepare our students with the skills and values needed for the future.
Speaking virtually at the launch, Global Partnership for Education's engagement lead for the Caribbean, Mohamed Yassin, reminded the audience of the importance of Grenada's recent launch of the Grenada Private Sector Alliance for Education, which focuses on foundational literacy, and connects this with the current WHISTLE project.
This is kind of the first building block, early reading and understanding. And then as we continue with the children across the pathway, this is where WHISTLE comes in. And WHISTLE is kind of the bridge between the primary education, which has the early reading, and the primary education curriculum that was developed under the OECS Pearl, which has always also been financed by GPE, and had a harmonized primary education curriculum across the entire OECS region. WHISTLE will basically serve as the link from the primary education to the upper secondary education, where children are also being prepared for skills relevant to the job market and to contribute productively to the economy of Grenada. So there's a whole continuum of support from the early grades, from early stimulation and early grades and foundational skills to skills for work and for life, which is very exciting to see. So the Global Partnership for Education has been a partner of Grenada since 2012. We have currently around $12 million active in support to Grenada through our different partners, the World Bank, the OECS Commission, the Caribbean Development Bank, and others, as well as SUMA more recently. And we have around $40 million in investment in education in the region. So we're very committed to education in the region. We actually think it's at the heart of the economic transformation and the future of the region.
Grenada's component of the project is titled Enhance Lower Secondary Curriculum and Assessment Strategy in Grenada. Permanent Secretary with responsibility for educational administration, Lorraine St. Louis Ned, says educational transformation requires rethinking old approaches and involves stakeholders' ability to challenge themselves honestly while placing students at the center of decision making.
The future will not ask our children what subjects they memorized. It will ask whether they can think, adapt, collaborate, solve problems, and lead. And that is why initiatives like WHISTLE matter. Because this project is not simply about curriculum reform in the traditional sense. It is about building an education system that develops competencies for life and work. An education system that responds to national priorities. An education system that supports inclusion, climate awareness, critical thinking, and real-world problem solving. And let us be honest, changing curriculum documents alone changes nothing.
St. Louis Ned says the effectiveness of the WHISTLE project will depend on the quality and consistency of implementation. World Bank Country Representative Alex Agosti says this project, which aligns with Grenada's National Sustainable Development Plan and builds on prior curriculum reform, is one of 12 World Bank-financed projects in Grenada. The WHISTLE project will train 350 secondary school teachers and 50 school leaders to implement the lower secondary school curriculum, which will reach 3,600 students in Forms 1 and 2. It will also develop a national assessment strategy to provide educators with reliable and timely data. Agosti says the World Bank is proud to be a partner in education and to support the OECS Skills and Innovation Project, OECS SKIP, which supports post-secondary education, and the WHISTLE project in particular. He looks forward to the transformative results. Chief Education Officer Diane Abel Jeffrey says the WHISTLE project is timely.
The project comes at a time when education systems throughout the Caribbean continue to confront significant challenges. We are addressing learning gaps, learning loss, gaps in students' achievement, evolving workforce demands, unequal access to educational opportunities, and the need to better integrate technology into teaching and learning. At the same time, we must ensure that our education systems are resilient enough to withstand climate-related events, economic shocks, and other unforeseen disruptions.
For GIS News, I'm Annette Moore.
Thank you, Annette. This is a GIS News. We'll take a look at what's happening in the region when we come back.
As we look ahead to 2026, we're committed to elevating Grenada's presence on the global stage. Our integrated tactical focus includes media relations, travel trade engagement, sales activation, and digital campaigns. These efforts are designed to ensure visibility and establish leadership in our niche pillar marketing. We invite you to join us on this journey by supporting our initiatives and sharing the beauty of our Tri-Island state with the world. Together, we can make 2026 a year of growth and success for our islands. Whether you're a local stakeholder, a travel enthusiast, or someone who simply loves Grenada, your involvement is crucial to our success. Thank you for your continued support. Let's make 2026 a year to remember.
Welcome back. St. Lucia will host the 51st regular meeting of the Conference of Heads of Government of the Caribbean Community from July 5th to the 8th under the chairmanship of the Honorable Philip J. Pear, Prime Minister of St. Lucia, who will assume duties as chair on July 1st. The opening ceremony scheduled for Sunday, July 5th will feature remarks by the CARICOM chair, outgoing CARICOM Chair, Honorable Dr. Terence Drew, Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, and CARICOM Secretary General Dr. Carla Barnett. The ceremony will take place at Sandals in St. Lucia and will be streamed live on CARICOM's social media platforms. From July 6th to the 8th, heads of government will participate in business sessions and deliberate on issues critical to the region's agenda. Jamaica and Ghana have agreed on a series of measures covering health, defense, trade, air services, culture, sports, and education following the third session of the Jamaica-Ghana Permanent Joint Commission for Cooperation, the first such meeting between the two countries in 21 years. Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade Minister Kamina Johnson-Smith said the formal meetings held in Accra on May 25th and 26th resulted in the signing of cooperation agreements in health and defense, as well as the modernization of an existing agreement on sports and culture. The newly signed health agreement establishes a framework for the recruitment of healthcare workers from Ghana to Jamaica. It also provides for bilateral cooperation in hospital management, specialized care, digital health, telemedicine, emergency preparedness, research, and health surveillance. The two countries also updated and modernized a 2005 agreement on sports and culture, expanding its scope to reflect better temporary creative industries. The countries also pledged to fast-track the implementation of the bilateral air services agreement signed in 2018. That's a look at news for today, Wednesday, June 10th. A recap of the top stories. Ministry of Education implements measures to address the issue of late payments to teachers, and youth parliamentarians challenged to continue advocacy to end gender-based violence. On behalf of the news and production team, I am Rikisha St. Louis, thanking you for joining us.